Hey, this is Stacia, and I'm going to share my round one game from the Parma Championship played in November 2023. And yeah, this is not a happy game, but that's okay. I think when I get beaten badly and I'm disappointed in myself, I think the best thing to do is to just be objective about the game and just, let's just be objective and see what we can learn from it. Let's improve so that next time we're better prepared. So I played Jim Nix, he's basically been a USCF expert most of his life. He's currently, 1803 because, chess kids exist and they're tough. And he's getting a little older, but we're all victim to the chess kids. So anyway, let's have a look at this game. So he opened with knight to f3, and I played d5. So he goes d4, and I played knight f6. Okay, so we've transposed into a queen pawn opening, and then he played c4. So I was curious if he was going to go for our usual stuff, because him and I, we've had this position before many times, I believe. So this is a queen's gambit now with the inclusion of knight f3 and knight f6. Now, something interesting about this, of course I took because I played queen's gambit accepted. It's my favorite approach. But what's interesting about this is, okay, he plays e3, and in this position, I was thinking about playing b5. I mean, can I do this? I was wondering, and my thought was this is probably playable, but not like correct. And turns out that's actually true. I mean, I did calculate a little bit though, because that's what I do. I thought like if a4, for example, I could play c6. If he takes, I could take back. Now, if he goes, if he goes knight c3, I might even play b4. I don't know. And, okay, he could play b3, I guess. But this could get interesting. Like, I don't know. I was starting to look at stuff like this. Although, I actually don't think I like black that much here. Like, let's say they take. Okay, I mean, these pawns are separated. So I've got two passed pawns. But it's early in the game, and they could become weak. Also, why is my bishop here? It's kind of weird. It's not like this bishop's great on g7. So, I don't know. I thought probably white's a little better here. So let's see what the engine says. Yeah, engine likes white. It says +1. And now if we just look at that line really quick with the engine on, it does give a4. It does give c6. See, I like doing this because when I'm calculating, I don't know if I'm seeing the right moves or not sometimes, It gives b3 here, but it also gives a takes b5. Okay, it gives a lot of moves. Bishop d2, b3, and takes. I was definitely thinking about b3 as well. And then here it says c takes b5. And then b3. Okay, this is what I thought, actually. And then I thought bishop e6 here. Ooh, the engine doesn't give bishop e6. It gives e6, a5, and bishop e7. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't really understand a5, I don't think. What is the point of this? Because I would expect them to take. I know we're getting sidetracked a bit, but hey, the point of this is to learn, right? I want to understand the opening a little bit better than I did before the video. So after takes, I would expect takes. What does the engine want now? Now it just wants e6. And okay, so this is interesting. So we give back the pawn, but now we have this passed pawn, and there's already a rook behind it. And now we just play chess. Like they castle, and we play bishop e7, we play chess, and it gives like sort of a normal advantage for white here. So this is playable. So I might play it this way next time. I actually might, because I like lines like this that are interesting and different. I like the combative nature of holding on to the pawn and then giving it back with like a new position, because as you'll see in this game, he is very comfortable, I feel. And so mixing it up early would probably benefit me, or not, but it couldn't hurt. That's the way I feel about it. At least then I rely on my own calculation. All right, so the other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm sorry, this is going to be a slow-paced video because it's a learning video. We're learning. The other thing I want to mention is that, you know, in the normal Queen's Gambit accepted, these two tempos are not included. So usually after this and E3, B5 is not an option. And just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got to show you why. I must. Like, okay, here's our Queen's Gambit, takes E3. Okay, there's a very common trap here. After B5, A4, attacking the pawn, we play C6, but now white trades and wins with Queen F3. And look at that, the rook's attacked. Now, the reason this doesn't happen in the other line is because there's a knight on F3, so there is no Queen F3. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but let's get back to the game now. Engine is definitely off. So I take, he plays E3, and even though I thought about B5, I just played the normal move, which is E6. Let's open up our bishop. What's the point of this? Well, I want to fight for the center. I just took a center pawn, but I used my D5 pawn to do that. So I really don't have much of a center now. So I need to play C5. And now that I played E6, you know, I'm controlling that square with the bishop. So he takes and C5. Okay. This is a very normal position. He castled, and I played A6. This move is correct. I was wondering after the game if I have to play this way. But it seems like it's a good idea. I have a feeling it's due to the fact that the B5 square could become important for white. Like they could route their knight in there, or their queen, or they could apply pressure on this diagonal. But I don't know concretely on that one. Anyway, A6 has a clear plan. So, you know, when you're playing a game of chess, you want to have a setup in mind for your pieces. You know, memorizing theory is nice, but really we got to think for ourselves. And A6 makes a lot of sense to me. And the way I get to it is that I go, I just played E6, shutting in my bishop. How on earth am I going to get this bishop out? I mean, if I want to do this, it's a little awkward because I take away the squares from this knight, and I'm not sure which one the knight wants yet. So it's hard to like wait and see and get the best setup if I play that way. So we have this idea of B6 and bishop B7, right? But there's a bishop on C4. So why not play A6, B5 with tempo on that bishop, then bishop B7. That's the whole point of A6. And so there you go. He went queen E2. Okay. Now this is what we call the old main line. I forget what the new main line is. The new main line, I'm going to try to guess. It's probably knight C3 is what I think it is. So I'm going to check now because I like to learn things. No, it's actually bishop B3. And wow, there's other moves that are above the old main line. The old main line is like number 4. So bishop B3, avoiding this gain of tempo by black. So that kind of makes sense to me. I would probably play B5 anyway, you know, whatever. And then they could play A4. Interesting. Now we would have to play bishop b7, I feel. Oh, the main line is b4. Okay, I'm learning because that's interesting. So, yeah, moves like this, like it's like, ooh, we're stopping them from playing knight c3 and knight a3, yay. But then guess what? Then they can do this, and the knight can get to c4. And that can be annoying too. So that's a pretty committal move. So if we just follow the main line, oh, look at that. They play knight bd2 in the main line. Bishop e7, e4. Interesting. And then we just play bishop e7, and then e5, knight fd7. So I guess we want to recapture with a knight because that would attack that bishop that we don't like. So yeah, and then it gives knight c4, castles. Okay, so this is the new main line, at least according to the Lichess database, which I do mostly trust. I feel they keep it pretty updated. So that's our new main line, but I'm not even sure I'll play b5 there. I probably wouldn't. Oh, and actually knight c6 is the main line. So I lied. So let's look at the real main line. It's knight c6, knight c3, and then c takes d4. Okay, this looks more like the way I would play it. And then e takes d4. White accepts an isolated queen pawn. Yeah, and these positions are scary. I'm going to tell you right now that some of you probably get really excited. You're like, ooh, yay, a weakness, isolated pawn. I'm going to trade pieces and win the pawn. Okay, but I usually play the white side of these positions, and they are, you know, venomous for white. There's a lot of attacking ideas for white. So, you know, it gives bishop e7. Let's just see how the main line continues. Bishop g5, castle. Queen d2. Queen d2. I wonder if that, like, sort of stops knight b4. What the idea is there. Or maybe it stops h6. Would they just sack if we play h6? It's the second move. No, they take, or they just play bishop f4. Okay, because they're provoking a weakness. So, all right, the main line just goes queen d2, knight a5, attacking the bishop, bishop c2, of course. Ooh, and the top game in this line is Vladimir Kramnik playing Vishy Anand in 2001, and white did win that game. So that's pretty interesting. So I like following the main line sometimes because then it does lead to a game oftentimes. And it looks like they have 2 games where white won this. So Kramnik beat Vishy with this twice. I also see Alexander Mosenko a couple times. All right. So anyway, I know that if you guys wanted a quick recap, that's not what this video is. So sorry. We're learning. We're learning some stuff. Okay, so in the game e6. Now, a6, queen e2, the old main line. Now, this line is in my Chessable course with Sopiko Gurnashvili, who is Anishgiri's wife, by the way, and she's an international master. And I could barely remember what she recommended here. But I will tell you this. I don't think I love getting my openings from Chessable sometimes. And this is a great example why. The line that she gives is you're living on a thread. Like it's computer prep essentially. And if you mess up one tiny thing, you know, you're basically dead. And that's what keeps happening to me in this line. So it's like, well, why would I want to play a line that delays castling and plays like hanging by a thread, like one wrong move and I lose? I'm a little surprised she recommended it, you know, because any club players I would not recommend a line like that. But okay, anyway, I'm going to show you what I mean here. So I remember that the move she recommended is, it's probably b5. I didn't play this in the game because I was a little scared. Okay, and then they'll go here. And then I believe her line was just this. Rook d1. And I think take on d4, if I recall, is the line she gave. I'm checking with the engine because the engine gives knight bd7. So I don't know if I'm doing this exactly right, actually. But I remember she wanted to take early here. And then now white could take other ways, right? They could take with a rook, but I don't think that's recommended, actually. Like if they take with a rook, now I just move my queen and their center isn't so strong anymore, and this bishop remains blocked. In fact, it's more blocked because they can't even play b3 or b4. So that's just a bad move. So they take back this way. And then I recall, like, I mean, it just looks like, what am I doing, right? Like, why are all my pieces, like, on the back row? And this rook's lined up with my queen. This queen's lined up with my king. I mean, this is a very dangerous position. And I remember something like bishop e3 here. Or bishop e7, I mean. And, yeah, you have to be aware of d5. So, like, knight c3, castle d5. I mean, I'd be scared of this. But it turns out that it works out for us. But, you know, if white changes the move order at all, you know, it's not this line anymore. It's a slightly different one. So you can't just memorize it. You have to actually understand what's going on. And to me, it's just scary to play. I mean, I guess I could take it. But we have to be very careful that our queen doesn't end up capturing on d5, hanging our bishop on e7. So I would have to calculate here, you know. And it gives bishop f4 for white. Not even taking it. But let's say they did take it. I guess they can't take it, huh? But now it's hard to do this because it blocks this. So engine gives bishop e4 here, attacking the knight and saving the bishop off the vulnerable square. I mean, okay, whatever. It didn't go into the exact line I'm talking about, but it's pretty close. I mean, it's scary. So I decided not to do this, and I played bishop e7, which I actually knew was not the best because he could take here. And that is going to cause me to lose a tempo, number one. And number two, maybe white could get more center control now by playing e4 soon, maybe even right away. And they also get a tempo with this, and they also can play a3, b4 against this bishop now, which will cause that bishop to move again. So I figured white's better here, and that turns out to be true. I see the engine agrees. But I thought I'm not losing. That's what I thought. I thought I'll play from here if this happens, whatever, I'll deal with it. So I kind of liked bishop e7, but it's not precise. Not a precise move. It's a little bit scared. It's a little bit of a scared move. But I just want a castle, you know? Just let me castle. So, so I thought a while. This is a g90 game, by the way. And rook d1 comes. I thought rook d1 was good. I don't know why the engine gave it this. I did run the analysis on it. How do I pause the video? There used to be a pause button because I want to refill my drink. So I'm sorry, you guys. I'm going to refill it anyway. So just be patient. Okay. Okay, I'm back, and you know, I did kind of forget to mention that this is the whole idea of Queen E2. And to me, it's a strong plan because this is the same plan I play in the Smith-Morra Gambit. And it can be hard to meet at times, especially in the Morra. But here, it's still hard to meet because, as you can see, my queen is lined up with this rook. So they could actually take here with tempo now. So I probably got to do something about that. Now, in the game, I played b5, attacking the bishop. They moved away. And then I captured. Yeah, and I was thinking a long time here. So, you know, given that I was thinking a long time on my moves and I still lose this horribly, that shows a lack of understanding. That means I have something I need to learn. And so that's what we're doing today. So, all right. I captured here because I remembered Sopico wanted this early capture, but I also don't want to allow pawn takes pawn, right? Like, if I allowed that with tempo, actually, I probably should have allowed it here, honestly. I'll tell you why. I remember being afraid of situations where they take this with tempo and play b4, and I did not want to allow that. Then black's clearly worse when that happens. But that is not possible anymore with the bishop on b3. So I actually think I could allow it. So let's try it, right? So I would just want to castle then. This is what I want to do. Let's say they capture with tempo. Okay, I'm just making moves I have no engine on. But I feel like this is a great way to analyze. All right, so now let's... I was thinking queen c7 here would be a move, right? Why not queen c7? With the pawn here, I'm not as afraid of like rook c1 and... Yeah, I feel like maybe this is... I'm actually controlling this square. I think the queen's okay on c7. I might even play queen a5. I might. But I'm a little afraid they'll go bishop c2 here and attack the queen that way. So I think this is fine. And then let's say white plays something. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to try to hold on to the pawn? It's not so easy to do, actually. I don't know how they hold on to the pawn. I think I actually like this for black. That's what I think. So I'm going to turn on the engine now. And the engine says equal. So there you go. There you go. So I could have castled then. So now I have the engine on. Yeah, and it gives castles as one of the top moves. And the other one is queen c7. Preparing it. Preparing the same thing. So, okay. Sometimes when you think a long time, you have like a conclusion that is very simple and easy to see. And then the more you think, you forget it. That's why they say long think, wrong think. So I think I did that here because the only reason I wasn't playing castles is because I didn't want this and b4. And that's clearly not happening here. So my idea was right, but I didn't execute it right. Okay, so I took here instead, which was unnecessary and risky, in my opinion. Why is it risky? Well, now I'm allowing white to gain the IQP position, and they're pretty well developed. So, like, they take back. Notice this bishop is now open, right? This bishop has life now. And so I actually think that taking... Yeah, computer did not mark it wrong, but I would call it risky. I would call it risky because why am I granting white, you know, this diagonal for their bishop when it's not so easy to get it on b2? So I could be wrong about that. Clearly I am, because computer disagrees, but computer also, you know, calculates much, much further. So it probably means that this is dubious, but for reasons way down the line, it's not dubious. Okay, so as you can see, I'm delaying castling quite a bit here, right? Like I played bishop e7. My idea is I want to castle, but then I decided on b5, and I thought this is all fine. I thought take and bishop e7, and I was calculating nonstop this d5 move by white, because if white gets in d5, sometimes it's game over, especially if you're not castled. So I wanted to get my bishop here in order to control d5 some more. Now, a problem though with this is that the knight, it doesn't matter which square the knight goes to, either way it's going to block a defender of d5. So I was aware of this, and I was also aware that in games in the past I've played knight c6 early and had knight b4 and route the knight into d5, and Jim Nix even cited that game where I did accomplish that plan, which I think I did twice. And he was very disturbed by it because, you know, if black manages that and just castles, and, you know, then black's fine, and like this pawn's just weak, then, you know, it's just a weakness at that point. So, but this game, no, I'm not there. I'm not there at all. So let's look at what I was afraid of, because I do see ghosts a lot. So I must have thought, well, I thought d5 was okay here. So what was it that I wanted to play instead? I wanted a castle. Okay, if this, I still think this is good. I still like this. Still like this. So I should not have feared this at all. In fact, he probably wouldn't have did that. He probably would have played like knight c3 to get in d5, and then I would castle, and can he play d5 or not? I don't know. I've got 4 guys on d5. I think I'm good there. I also can throw this in if I want, in this position. So I don't know what I was so scared of. Looking at this now, I can't even explain to you guys what I saw. So that's really unfortunate, but here's what I did though. I thought taking was a little risky. It's fine though. I'm fine still. Bishop e7, knight c3. Okay. So knight c3, you've always got to keep an eye on d5. So I castled and I calculated d5. Now I'm going to show you what I calculated, because I think it's fine, and it probably is fine. Now keep in mind that the main thing to watch for in this position is the fact that the queen is lined up with the bishop here. I think that's a pretty big thing to watch, because the queen's a defender of d4, so she's a little overworked, right? Defending the pawn and the bishop. The other thing we have to keep an eye on is this. You know, if that queen lands with check and picks up some loose piece, you know, that's going to be winning for white. So we have to also keep an eye on this sacrifice. Just make sure it doesn't win, you know? Probably won't. I don't feel like it will, but it could. So we have to be careful. Okay, so I thought if d5 here, I was just going to play kind of normal. I mean, also keep this in mind. This is not a happy thing. I thought I would just take it. Okay, if he takes, I take. And if he takes, I take. And I thought here, if he plays rook takes, I'm willing to take the rook and give up the bishop. And then I even have this check. And then he could come back. I did calculate this. And I thought here, I'm probably up material, right? Like I'm winning. I'm winning here, I thought. So I could trade queens, and oh, happy days. Actually, I might not even trade. I wouldn't trade queens. I would probably play this. In all honesty, I would do this. And let's see what the engine says. Okay, so I was right. This line is winning. This is what I thought. So I thought d5 with that line as the backbone of it, you know, is basically not playable. He shouldn't play d5. Now, of course, he doesn't have to do all those trades, but that would be the critical way to play it. So he doesn't do that. He plays bishop g5, and I underestimated this move. Yeah, I really did. I felt relaxed here, and I actually make the losing move, if you can believe that. So I'm going to put it on the board. I played knight d5. And trust me, I was calculating. So if you want to figure this out for yourself, pause your video. It's white to move and win. Let's see if you can get the whole variation. Okay, so I'm going to show you the stuff I was looking at. I mean, I thought this is great because if he takes my bishop, I was honestly planning knight takes knight. If he takes the queen, I take his queen with check. I thought this is winning for black. So if I turn on the engine, okay, it's actually not because the king f1. Oh, I didn't realize king f1 attacks the knight. Dang. Okay, well, it goes from winning in that case to equal because now they can take the knight. So, okay. So I was wrong on that variation, but whatever. Now I know to watch out for king f1 attacking the knight. So another variation, though, I thought was takes. He could simply take back here. And then I thought I would take here, and I thought this position just looks playable for me. I could be wrong. Actually, does he have d5? Oh, he does have d5. He has d5. I can't take because he takes. So that means that I can't take d5. And that means I'm in trouble. So actually white's better here. So wow, I was just blundering hugely here. So that would be good too. I think bishop takes e7 is good then. Yeah, engine does say it's good. Okay, I'm turning the engine back off. Okay. So already I miscalculated this move, right? I thought I'm fine here, maybe winning. Winning if he tries to trade queens. But I was wrong on both accounts. So back to the tactics puzzles for me. All right, so I played this game worse than I thought. Okay, but let's be objective. So what? Let's be objective. All right, the other move that he can play, though, of course, is another capture. He could play knight takes knight. He could play bishop takes knight. Now, every grandmaster looks at all the captures in their sleep. They literally blink their eyes and see these captures immediately. Okay, but I was looking at these, and I thought knight takes is no good. And I'll tell you why. I thought after knight takes, I was literally planning this move. I thought this was interesting. But maybe it's wrong. Guess we'll find out. If they take here, yeah, I think I could do this. I could do this, I think. But there is knight b6. Just looks a little awkward, I will say. And then after rook a7, can they play d5 here? I don't think so. So I thought this was okay. Let's see what the engine says. It says white's a little bit better if they play d5. So once again, d5 can happen. Huh. Okay. So basically, I don't understand these positions at all. So I'm learning. I kind of understand them better than what I'm. Knight d5 is just not the right move. It's just not the right move at all. I do understand why too, because even like vaguely without calculating, like knight d5 looks dangerous to play because you're opening up like an attack on this bishop. And we also have problems with captures on d5 and the queen gets lined up with the bishop, right? So I was thinking we could see a line like this, like takes, 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 takes. And if I take here, I just lose the game, right? Just like bishop takes and they're forking me. So I saw this and I thought I was being clever. And if you see a threat and you think you're being clever, if you're not a master, because probably masters do that all the time, but if you're me, that's a red flag right there. Like, play more simple if you can, because a lot of times I try to allow these crazy variations and I end up doing one little thing wrong, and I just lose the game. So I shouldn't play risky like that, I feel. So knight d5, risky move, and it is a blunder. And it wasn't even knight takes, because after knight takes, I could play here. And this is at least interesting. But he played bishop takes in the game. And I did calculate this, but I missed something. I mean, the problem here is I don't have an intermezzo because he will take here, attacking my rook, right? I'm kind of realizing now, maybe I should do this anyway. No, I can't because he'll take on g5, right? So I was thinking here, here, and here. And if he just moves away, then I think I'm fine here. I think I'm fine here. I think I could play rook here or something. And then if he does take, I'm not super afraid of this. I think this is fine. I'm going to ask the engine. Oh my gosh, it says white's winning. It says white's winning. Oh, I'm down a piece. I didn't even count it right. Wow. Yeah, I just have a rough time with this position. I don't know why. So let's count, because apparently I need to go back to basics here. They take a knight. I take a bishop. They take a bishop. Oh yeah, they're piece up here. So I don't know why I thought this is a good move. They took a bishop, so I got to take a piece. That's losing for sure. So that means I have to take. Okay, if I take that way, back to our old friend here. And so I got to take this way. And then I was like, oh no. Oh no, because white can now capture. This is still pinned. And my queen's overworked. So both of the issues I was concerned about, and I saw both of these issues, but in this exact line, I missed it. So I took here and he took here. And yeah, I just lost material. Or wait, this isn't what happened in the game. But I'm going to show what happened, because it's very similar to that. This is the actual move. Take, take. Oh, he did it this way. Yeah, and I played there because if I take back, now he captures here, and I'm lost, right? I can't take back because he wins the queen. This is really unfortunate. But I just didn't, I thought I untangled, and I just didn't quite untangle. So, and my knight d5 calculation, which I think I did pretty quickly, was just plain wrong. It's just plain wrong. So I guess the question then is, what should I play instead of knight d5? So if you want to pause your video and come up with something, go ahead and do so now. So a move like knight c6 comes to mind, but then there's d5. We would definitely have to worry about d5 here. In fact, this just looks good for white. So I'm going to ask the engine. Wow, it's equal. Wow, we could play knight c6, and now we can play knight takes d5. The knight on c6 guards e7. Look at that. We're threatening to win the bishop this time. Wow. It's still just, this alignment makes me nervous, but all right. Let's say they take. I'd probably just take. This looks scary to me. Okay, I'm turning on the engine because I'd be afraid of rook takes d5, and it is the top engine move. Okay. And then we just play queen e8. Cool, calm, and collected. That's pretty wild. So we've got this all defended. The rook's in line with the bishop, so we have discoveries. So it says they should play queen d2. Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Queen d2, getting ready for rook d1, rook e1, I think. Also, maybe rook d7. I mean, this is a scary position still. So this is very complicated. I have to analyze all this more. I'm going to put all of this on a real board and analyze. Sometimes I'm worse at tactics on a real board because I do all my tactics solving, you know, online. So, okay. Back to the game. Knight d5 is a complete blunder. I should have played... Okay, knight c6 is apparently playable, but it looks risky again. I could just move my king, right? Like, what's wrong with... Or a queen, I mean. What's wrong with something like... Queen b6? Well, then I let go of d5, though. I'm going to ask the engine the best move, because I honestly don't know. If queen b6, yep, d5 is winning for white. The best move is knight b to d7. Yeah, why did this move not occur to me? I think I didn't like this because of d5. So let's look at this. Okay, we have, you know, separated the rook's connection with the queen. And we have interfered with d5. But now if we take... You know, this knight can now come and help with this. And when that happens, we are guarding that again. So they give knight takes d5 here. Okay, and I do see if knight takes d5, we are defending this. Isn't white winning again? Take. I can't do this because of this. So I'd have to take here, and then we're back to this. So what's wrong here? So knight takes d5 is wrong. We have to take with a bishop. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I've been sick. They have to take with a bishop. Now knight takes d5. Yeah. And if they take it, we take here. And if they take here, we take with the knight. Okay. Not so easy to calculate, I feel. It's a little bit challenging because we're under so much pressure here and it's so easy to lose. So, yeah, that's why I didn't find it, because I looked at these moves and I did not feel comfortable. So I calculated this and thought I was fine, but unfortunately for me, he took, I took, he took here, and I had to take here, because once again, if I play queen takes e7, there's knight takes d5, and I'm pinned. I can't take back. So I took here. Now, if he takes my queen, I take here, I'm on his rook. And if he takes back, I take back, and I'm fine. But unfortunately for me, you know, he's a good player. So he didn't do that. He played queen takes f3. Yeah, in this position, he played queen takes f3. And now there's a new threat in town. It's called rook. It's called queen takes rook. So I'm basically lost. I took, and the rest of the game's kind of pointless. I wanted to resign, but, you know, always play on. So I just tried to make some threats, and I was trying to trap the queen. I couldn't figure it out. Probably because you can't. And we played on a bit more, but soon I just simply resigned. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game. I guess one last thing is, how will I play the opening next time? So let's just look at this and make sure that we have a line, right? Okay, I could play b5 here. That's one idea I have. But if we go into this again, I don't think I'll go bishop e7. I will go b5. He'll go here. And then I'll go here. He'll go rook d1. Okay, and then here, yeah, here we can play different moves. Queen c7 is one of them. And I think I like that one. I think I like queen c7. With the bishop on b3, I like queen c7. It's not so easy for white to do that stuff with tempo, you know, and play bishop e2 and rook ac1. So queen c7 seems like a fair place for the queen. The engine's giving it. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And I see it's just an equalish move. Now, in terms of stats, knight bd7 is stronger. Black wins more often with this move. So if they take here, there's only one game, but the engine says play queen c7 now, which I kind of like. Yeah. But I don't think they'll take because they can't play b4 so easy. So it gives e4, which is interesting. Why would white play that? Okay, it looks like no masters played that move. They play here, which is more normal. Now we just go queen c7. Okay, so this queen c7 move is clearly what I didn't do this game. I stayed in that pin, and it made it very hard to play. And I'm really losing my voice, so I have to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back with more chess. Bye.